이병헌이 먹기 많았어.
Hi, I'm Cameron Childs, the Early Childhood Specialist with Arlington Public Schools. I work in the Early Childhood Office in the Department of Teaching and Learning. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about reading with your child. We'll discuss some of the benefits of reading with your child and then some of the different ways that you can engage your child in text. So there are many benefits to reading with your child, and that's a child of any age. So you can never start too early. And then this has benefits really throughout a child's schooling. So some of those benefits of reading with your child is that it develops an understanding of language in print. It supports the development of listening skills and the ability to sustain attention to a task. It stimulates their imagination and expands their understanding of the world. A lot that we read to our children introduce them to new topics that they haven't explored before, and it lets them really think creatively about the world around them and the possibilities that they have. It also is shown to increase cognitive development and their academic skills. And in addition to those wonderful benefits, it's an amazing opportunity to foster that parent or caregiver relationship with the child. It's a special time that you have that you can focus on reading with your child and just being present in that moment. So a lot of times people wonder what they should read with their child. And the good thing about this is there's no right answer. You can read anything and everything with your child. A lot of times we suggest having the child select books that they're interested in because that really increases the level of engagement and interest that the child shows. If your child tends to select the same book over and over, that is okay. Repeated readings are really wonderful for child reading development. So giving your child the opportunity to pick a variety of books to read, either from your home library or from the public library, is a great place to start when you're thinking about what your child should be reading. You can also take opportunities to read environmental print or things you see in your surrounding. So if you are at the grocery store and you're walking down the aisles, reading the titles up at the top of the aisle is a great thing to do with your child. Or if you're walking on the street and you pass a sign, reading those street signs are great ways to engage your child in reading outside of just sitting down at home and reading. And then reading books in multiple languages is a really wonderful opportunity for your child. So if you speak multiple languages in your home, reading in those other languages is really great for their language development and cognitive development. So please continue to read in as many languages as you are able and are proficient in. Sometimes people wonder, where should they read with their child? And really, you can read anywhere. So you can read in a comfortable location at home. That could be sitting on the couch with your child. It could be sitting in a chair next to your child. Anywhere that you and the child are going to be comfortable and excited to read together. You could read in the car or on the bus or around town. So any opportunity where there's an adult or an older sibling or a caregiver who's able to look at a book and read with the child or even look at the pictures with the child is a great way to engage. So the good thing about both of these is there's not really a right answer. You can read anywhere and you can read anything. And that's one of the exciting parts about reading with your child is there really are very few parameters. So how should I read with my child? So there are a lot of different ways that you can engage with books with your child. You could look at the pictures and just talk about the pictures. Sometimes you don't any of the words and just focus on what's going on in the pictures. That's a great way for your child to start thinking deeply and creatively about different books. You could also have the child give a narrative of what they think is happening. So they don't need to be reading all of the words on the page, but they could look at the different pictures and tell you what they think is happening in the book. You could have an adult or an older sibling read aloud to a child, and you can ask a variety of questions about the book and about the pictures in the book. So all of these are great things to do with your child. You don't need to do all of them every time, just kind of picking and choosing what you feel like is going to be a great way to engage with your child at any given time. So we wanted to talk about what are some of the questions that you can ask your child as you read together. So a lot of times we might just read the book and not really ask too many questions, and that is okay. But sometimes we want to start engaging our child more with the text, and one way to do that is through asking questions. So some examples of questions that you could ask are, what do you see in this picture? Or what is happening on this page? Or who is in this story? Or where is this story taking place? So for example, the pre-K students received the book, The Three Bears, and this is a picture of one of the pages. And all of these are questions that you might be able to ask your child as you're reading that story with them. So it's okay, whatever they tell you they see. If you say, what do you see in this picture? And they say, I see a bear. That's a great place to start. And then you could elaborate and you could say, yes, do you think it's the papa bear or the mama bear or the baby bear? And you could ask how they know. So asking some of those questions is really a place to start the conversation about what's going on in the book. There are also higher level thinking questions that you can ask your child to really help them start to think deeply about the books that they're reading and what's happening in those stories. It also provides an opportunity to make connections to their own life and to other books that they've read. So some examples of higher level thinking questions that you could ask would be, does this story remind you of anything that's happened in your life? Does this book remind you of any other books that we've read? What do you think will happen next? So that's helping your child build the skill of making predictions. You could also ask, why do you think the character or person or animal is making that face or has that expression? So as we look at the picture on the right, you'll see that there's the mama bear and the baby bear. And so you might say, look at the bear's face. Why do you think the bears have their mouth open like that? Or how do you think the bears are feeling right now? Why do you think that? And your child might just say happy or sad or mad, but then talking them through how they can look at the at the bear's expression, and that will help show how they're feeling, is a great way to push their thinking in the story. Another creative way to kind of engage them is to ask them to think of a different ending. So you could say, if you were to think of a different ending for this story, what would you have happen? And there's no right answer to that, but that's a chance for the child to really use their imagination, take what they know about books, what they know about the world, and think of their own creative ending. To develop this skill, you could also, share what you might think would be another possible ending. So there are many, many more questions that we can ask children as they're reading books and as they're looking at pictures, but these are just a few that you can start to use as you're reading with your child. So thank you so much for learning a little bit more about reading with me. And should you have any additional questions, feel free to visit the Engage website, and you can send any questions through that website. We're happy to answer them and provide any additional support that we can. And just know, the most important thing here is reading with your child. So thank you for reading with them. It is amazing for their development and is a fun opportunity to engage. Thanks so much.